way I just looked at that, it looks to me like it's
Let me see it.
what Your Honor reviewed.
And that, I just didn't recall her talking about mentioning urine at all, and about 80% down the line, Your Honor, there's a box for urine.
Right.
It's checked as having been collected.
Right, urine drug screen.
But that doesn't mean it was sent to a lab.
Well, she said it was sent somewhere.
Vandenburg
Right.
and the chief did not.
And, right, and she had nothing further to do with it.
Okay.
Okay, we need to bring the jury on in here. Let me read these instructions.
Those jury charges, those were, one of them was filed in the last trial. I think both of them may have been filed in the last trial. I couldn't find the second one, so I just went ahead and filed it with Ms. Halstead.
Should have been filed Monday, but that's neither here nor there.
And Your Honor, we also would request whenever we're going to argue this, a charge on under TPI 42.8, evidence of good character.
All rise.
Well, we'll deal with that later. All right, please be seated. Lunch okay today? Good, good. Okay, let's call the next witness. Who is it?
Royster. Quayla Royster.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Quayla Royster.
Okay, Ms.
Spell it for and for me.
Quela. Last name Royster, Royster.
What do you do for a living?
I'm in graduate school right now at University of Memphis.
Okay. What are you studying?
Speech pathology.
Okay. And where were you in school June 2013?
I was in school at Vanderbilt University.
Okay. And is that where you know Mr. Batey from?
Yes, ma'am.
How long did you know him?
Probably about a month.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to just speak just a little bit louder. Okay, perfect. And what kind of relationship do you all have back then?
I would say mainly friends, but we were kind of hanging out more in a romantic way. So talking on the phone, texting, things
Okay.
like that.
Now, I want to take you to June 22nd, 2013, that night. Do you remember that night?
I do.
Okay. And tell me how you came into contact with Mr. Batey.
That night,
Yes.
so I was outside with some friends. There were football players and a couple other students there, partying, I guess, outside. And one of his friends kind of alerted me to the fact that Cory was intoxicated and to take him to his room. And so I did that. I took him up to his room, and
Okay.
that's it.
So, when you would say intoxicated, how drunk was he?
I remember him kind of leaning on me as we were walking.
Right.
And I also thought that he was intoxicated based on the fact that when we got up to the room, he was trying to, I guess, like, do stuff with me.
Right.
And he had never done that before, and so I thought that behavior was not usual for him.
Okay. And when you say he was trying to do stuff with you, and you talking about initiate sex?
Well, just trying to kiss me and stuff like that. And up until that point, like, we hadn't done anything, so.
Okay. Did he try to force you to do anything?
It wasn't aggressive in any way. Like, once I told him I didn't want to do anything, he listened and he stopped.
Okay. Now, what happened while you all were in the room, or what happened around that time?
Well, at a certain point, my roommates came upstairs and started knocking on the door because we had issues the entire summer for other reasons. And so I guess they wanted me to leave with them instead of staying there.
Okay. And who were your roommates at that time?
Courtney Hurd and Gazi Nakemka.
Okay. So they had come up there, and had you all rolled together that night?
Yes.
Okay. So how long after they came up there did they ever leave? Do you know?
I don't remember,
Okay.
honestly. I know that eventually I did end up leaving because of them.
Okay. And were you irritated by that at all?
Yes, a lot.
Okay. Now, when did you first meet Cory? I apologize. Mr. Batey, I apologize. When did you first meet Mr. Batey?
Well, I was staying in an apartment off campus, and one of his friends was friends with my friend Courtney, who was my roommate. And so she invited her friend and him and his friends to come play at our pool for a little bit. And so that was when I first came into contact with him.
Okay. And prior to June 22nd, had you ever seen him drink?
No, we mostly hung out during the day on my lunch break.
Okay.
So.
One second, please. Now, Ms. Royster, after you got downstairs, well, eventually you left, right?
Yes.
And was it long after your friends?
Not that much longer.
Okay.
I think I went downstairs 5 minutes after they had gone downstairs, saying that they were going to meet me at the car.
Okay.
So when I went downstairs, I was going to the car.
And did you ever talk to Mr. Batey after this event?
I did. We talked the next day, but it was mainly about my roommate drama.
Okay. Did you ever talk about anything that happened on that night?
No. Well, except for the roommate stuff.
Okay, except for the roommate situation. Now, have no further questions.
So, Mr. Worcester, were you at the party at East or just happened to walk over there?
I was there with some friends.
Okay. And did you drink anything?
I did.
Did you see Cory Batey drink anything?
Not directly, no.
Okay. So how long were you there at the party at East before you left to go back to Gillette?
I don't remember.
Okay. And when you got back to the room, you guys had nothing to drink, did you?
No.
So I think you've given a previous statement about Cory wasn't falling down drunk. Remember telling the police that?
No, I mean, he was holding on to me.
Okay.
I don't remember saying that, but I probably did.
Okay. You don't deny telling the police that, then?
No.
And then I talked to you yesterday, and you told me that when you got to the room, Mr. Batey didn't seem that drunk to you.
He was laying down, yeah.
He was lying down
Yes.
the whole time?
Well, for the beginning part when he was trying to do stuff with me, yes.
So were you all laying down together then?
No, he was laying down, I was standing up.
Okay. Did he ever take his clothes off just down to his boxers?
No,
You don't recall that?
I don't recall that.
So at some time, he made at least what you thought was an appropriate or at least unwanted advance to you as far as kissing or touching or something like that?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, you told him you didn't want to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And he understood? Mm-hmm. He was aware that you were saying no?
Yes.
And he stopped?
Yes.
Okay. And after that, you guys had pretty much a normal conversation about stuff?
Yes, sir.
Nothing unusual about it?
No, not that I can recall. He ordered us food.
Okay, so one time he did send out a text for food, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you see the text?
I didn't see the text. I knew he was texting to Tip about our food that we wanted.
Okay. So did you want the quesadilla, the nachos, the salsa? What were you wanting to get?
The quesadilla.
Okay. But he texted that out for you then?
Yes.
Okay. And I think during this normal conversation, he was getting texts from another woman, was he not?
Yes, he was showing me some of them.
Okay. And he was showing you those because they were about you, were they not?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I'm object to the relevance of this.
Well, it's part of him showing an awareness, Your Honor, on what happened in that particular room right before this incident.
Right.
And that woman was upset because you're with Cory, right? Batey, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then your roommates show up.
Yes.
Okay. And that's when I guess you could call it an argument, disagreement, whatever you want to call it. They wanted you to go, you didn't want to go. So basically what it was.
Yes.
Okay. But eventually they went out, I take it, and you decided to go and ride back with them.
Yes, to kind of handle the situation. They told me they were downstairs in a car.
Okay.
So I went to the car.
So then when you got downstairs, I think you kind of hugged Cory goodbye or greeted him goodbye, and then you looked in the car, did you not?
Yes.
You observed the woman in the car.
Yes.
She was passed out, wasn't she?
Yes.
Okay. And then later that night, we got, let's see, piece of the marked exhibit would be Cory Batey's phone records. And I can show you these if you'd like, but if there's any issue with them. But, your number at that time was 585. These reflect that you called Mr. Batey 2:43 that morning on the 23rd, and at 2:55, and they both went to voicemail. Do you recall that?
I don't. I remember the Sunday call.
So you don't remember calls at all that night?
I don't remember calling him.
Do you remember him calling you at 3:17 in the morning,
No.
talking for 12 minutes?
Your Honor, I'm object. She's already asked and answered this.
Well, that was a different question.
She said,
So you don't recall a 12-minute discussion you had at 3:17?
No.
Okay. And at 3:31, you talked another 4 minutes, you don't recall it?
She has said that she doesn't remember those calls, she remembers Sunday's calls, not anything on that day.
Well, I can refresh your recollection with official records that are in the record, Your Honor.
All right.
You don't recall that either?
No.
So if there'd been anything unusual about those calls, anything, I guess you would recall?
I don't remember them. I remember the call on Sunday
Okay.
where I talked about my roommates.
So you called him on Sunday, and that was about 1:38 p.m. according to the records. Does that sound accurate to you?
Yes.
And you all talked for 11 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. And during that period of time, you were discussing what had happened the night before at his room with your roommates, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you were upset about that.
Yes.
We're actually talking about moving out. I think you told the police maybe that he said he was sorry about that incident that had happened.
Your Honor, I'll object to the relevance of what went on with her roommates and the issue that they had has nothing to do with that night.
All right.
Well, I think it has to do with the phone call she had with Mr. Batey the next afternoon.
And Your Honor, that phone call has nothing to do with this night. It was about her roommates that she just testified.
Well, I think it does, Your Honor. Please, I think I can ask you a question about the discussion you had with Mr. Batey. Did he tell you he was sorry about the incident at the room?
Objection, Your Honor. That's a mischaracterization
Exactly.
of what is being, of what was said.
How does he know? Was he there?
No, I read the statement, though, and you did too. So
Well,
after...
I read 11-minute statement.
Hold it. You can ask about what he said.
Did he discuss the incident with you that night with your roommates?
I think he was sympathizing more, saying, like, I'm sorry that happened.
Okay.
Sorry in that way, not so much I'm sorry for what happened at this exact time last night.
Okay. But you were discussing the incident that happened. He was aware of it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he clearly remembered what had happened the night before with you and your roommate and him being there.
I mean, I'm not sure he clearly remembered it. I was telling him, like, this happened because of this happened last night. So I was kind of summarizing it for him. So I don't know.
But he never said, I don't know what you're talking about, Quilla, did he?
He never said that.
Okay. That's all, sir.
Ms. Royster, you were just asked about if you ever made a statement about him not being falling down drunk or something. Do you remember that, saying that he wasn't falling down drunk like counsel asked you?
I mean, I don't remember it, but I'm assuming if it's in a police record, then I said it.
You're assuming if it's in there. Okay. And I'm just going to give you a moment to just review, just so you can know whether or not it is in there, okay?
Okay.
That'll be fair?
Hopefully it's not in a statement. It was a statement you gave to us.
All right.
So you never made that statement to the police?
No.
Thank you.
But you do call talking to this attorney's office and do it.
I remember talking to them.
So,
Anything further?
Did you tell that to the district attorney's office? Do you remember ever saying that to the district attorney's office?
I don't remember exactly what I told them.
Thank you.
Anything further?
no, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. You're excused. Next witness.
Your Honor, we're going to call Mr. Batey.
Hold on. I'm going to need to, well, let me do this. Let me speak to the lawyers for a moment. What? Tell them they need to come on in.
Come on, y'all.
All right, Mr. Robinson, is your client going to testify?
Mr. Batey will not be testifying.
Okay, I need him to stand, raise his right hand.
And if I may, on the record, Your Honor, we believe that the inference to the jury.
And I said I was going to give the jury an instruction.
I know, but I need to, for the record, Your Honor, state that when we stated Mr. Batey would testify, and the court took a recess and called everyone to the back, that the inference of that suggests now maybe he's changed his mind for some reason. Perhaps they could believe that he shouldn't testify because he thinks he's guilty.
No, and what I will instruct them, and this is part of it, I wanted to do a colloquy with him prior to his possibly testifying. And I would have done that either whether he testified or not testified, because, you know, so that's part of the reason. And I'm going to do that now, the colloquy. So, and I will explain to the jury that that's what I was going to do.
And I would like to state on the record, Your Honor, it's our feeling that the prejudice is so great that we have to move for a mistrial because the inference that could be that the jury could take from that would be so great and perhaps suggest guilt that he may not be able to get their trial.
Well, one of the reasons that I had you come, because I was going to send the jury out at first. Then I changed my mind and said, well, let me see the lawyers. And the reason, one of the reasons is because I was going to do a colloquy with him, whether he testified or not.
I understand.
And I couldn't not have the jury in here, but I'm going to explain it to them. And I need him to stand up now and raise his right hand. You can do it right there.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right. Mr. Batey, you understand that you have a constitutional right to testify in your own behalf. You understand that? Right?
Yeah.
All right. You also have a constitutional right not to testify. You understand that as well, right?
Yes.
And after conferring with counsel, you've decided not to testify. Is that correct?
I think I've decided not to testify because of some information that he may have received.
Okay. Well, it's because of your discussions with counsel. Is that correct?
I mean, I feel like the jury is going to take from that I'm guilty.
And you heard me explain that I'm going to explain to the jury that I was going to do a colloquy whether you chose to testify or not. That's why I asked earlier, prior to them announcing that whether you were going to testify, I inquired earlier as to whether you were going to testify. And they said they didn't know at that time. I was going to do the colloquy regardless. Do you understand that? And I think that would cure anything with regard to that. All right?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I'm just trying to explain that I was going to do a colloquy with you, whether you testified or not. So I was going to send the jury out anyway. And the fact that you are not testifying, I am going to explain to them that I was I took a break partly because, not totally, but partly because I wanted to do a colloquy with you. You understand that?
Well, my intention was to testify because there was a defense strategy. I guess we didn't understand that we had to reveal it at that time. And
You didn't have to.
I was comfortable with the decision to testify because I feel like it was my defense. But then they gave the instructions to the jury that I was going to testify, and then y'all took a break. And then they came back in, and then I'm supposed to tell the jury that I'm not supposed to testify. I think that's going. I mean, you can give them an instruction, but at the same time, they're human. They're going to say, well, why didn't you testify? If you initially said, it was my counsel initially stated that I was going to testify. And I think that's unfair. What is unfair? I think that's unfair that we said, we told the jury that I was going to testify.
The fact that you have chosen not to testify is your constitutional right.
I decided to testify. And then y'all stepped to the back, and then they want me some suggestions from, I don't know, from who, but now the jury's supposed to come out and supposed to tell them I'm not supposed to testify. I don't know how they can set that aside when you're expecting me to testify and come back in and use your instructions.
So, Becky, do you want to testify? Is that what you're saying? If you want to testify, you have that right to do so.
Yeah. I mean, I want to testify, but I would like to think about it, but
That's what we've been doing for the last 30 minutes, I believe.
There's just been interference in my defense strategy, and I don't know how you think that we're supposed to balance.
Governor, maybe we
What?
maybe we have 10 minutes. This is so
I know it's important.
important.
And I've tried to give you as much latitude as possible. I mean, it's...
I understand, and he has, and I think very well explained to you, and you can see that there's a lot of confusion in his mind.
And Your Honor, I believe right now, after coming back, even if he wanted to testify in those states, so right now, as he had a very difficult breakdown in the back, and he can't even formulate his thoughts. He can't even think straight right now, and so
I don't know if you can state that on his behalf as to whether he can think or not.
Well, this is what he has explained to me as his counsel, and he feels bullied. So right now, he just needs time to think whether or not.
Miss Teasley, please do not say that he feels bullied.
I did not say he feels bullied by the court. I said that he feels bullied, and I'm not talking about by the court.
I'm not talking about by me. Okay. I'm talking about bullied by anyone. I don't think anyone...
I'm just giving you what was relayed, Your Honor. So I'm not saying anything about the court. I'm just merely saying he needs some time.
I just said, I don't think that you were implying that I bullied him. I'm saying that I don't believe he's been bullied. That's all.
Okay, just his feelings. So we just are asking for some time for him. And I don't know if 10 minutes is going to be enough for him to recompose himself and figure out what he wants to do when he came here thinking he's going to testify and wanting to do so, and now he doesn't want to for whatever reason now.
Mr. Robinson made the request. I was about to grant the request, but you may step back. You will have a few minutes. All right? Okay.
All rise. For being a brief recess.
Set my monitor.
Everyone please remain seated and come to order. Court is being set.
Okay, let's see if we're clear on the colloquy.
Your Honor, before we start, we have a request, Your Honor. And I can make the request, but I really think Mr. Batey can explain the request himself. Go ahead. And we're asking, Your Honor, if we can recess.
I didn't hear you. Right. Okay.
We're asking, Your Honor, if we can recess for the day. I know...
I have 14 people from another city who are very anxious to get back home.
You know, Your Honor, it was not...
That's about 42.
Ma'am, you know, I'm dealing with him right now, okay?
Just want to point out to the court that we ended yesterday at 2-something, and it was fine. And I'm just saying, I think it's not a request that hasn't already been made once this week by the state, but I'm going to let Mr. Batey explain. He's just not in an emotional state of mind right now, Your Honor. I'm telling you. I've been back there with him, known this kid.
Okay, I've heard what you say. What do you have to say, Mr. Batey?
Like you said, I understand those 14 people are anxious to get back home, but what I'm facing right now, you know, the significant amount of time, I feel like that me and my defense team need time to re-strategize and rethink, because I think I've been forced since the severance to go to trial. 2 weeks ago they severed. 3 days later we were preparing for trial. I think a day later the jury was sworn in. 3 weeks ago I was expecting to go to trial with Vandenburg, and I don't know who agreed to sever the case, but if I'm forced to go forward, I'm forced to go forward. But I would just like some time just to re-strategize with my defense team. I know they're anxious to get home, and you know, I want to be here for my son, and I want to just put myself and my family in the best position possible, and I feel like today that's been altered.
Well, I'm not going to continue this matter any longer. We need to conclude this case. What I need to know is whether you intend to testify. You have stated that you want to testify, but you chose not to testify. Which one is it?
I think I need time with my defense team. I mean, that's
Mr. Batey, you have to answer my question. Are you going to testify or not testify?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I really want to consult with my defense team. I understand that you got somewhere to be tomorrow, and I understand the jury wants to get back, but this is my life. I have a 15-month-old son. 2 weeks ago, you severed the case. 3 days later, I'm going to trial. This is a whole different trial, and y'all are forcing me. Y'all forced me to do everything. I got a 15-month-old son.
I don't force anyone to do anything, sir.
This is not fair.
John, this young man is 22 years old, looking at 100 and whatever years, and he was planning on going one direction, has had an emotional breakdown. Your Honor knows if he testifies, they're going to judge him by a lot of what goes on up there. I've known this kid for 6 years, and
as I've said
he
before,
deserves some time, Judge.
This matter's been going on for almost 3 years.
It has.
And he's had all week to think about whether to testify. And now he needs additional time to think about whether to testify?
Yes, Your Honor. It has, emotionally, I don't know that he's in check right now. It's got to be his decision, Judge.
It's always his decision. That's why I've asked him whether he wants to testify. If he wants to testify, he can testify.
Your Honor, if I may, it's not that he's saying that he doesn't want to. It's that if he feels, if he says that he wants to, he's going to be made to get on the stand at this moment when he is emotionally unstable for reasons I've already stated.
And
so,
if it were to happen next Tuesday, his state of mind would be different?
Well, it would, but even if and Your Honor has already said you're not gonna give us any extra time, but even a couple of hours would help him get his mind together. Because right now, he has expressed that he is not in the correct mind state to get up there in front of the jury and have them judge him based off of how he feels at this moment. So he needs hours just to get his mind together. It's all he is asking for.
And we've been out for the last hour already.
And he would not be the longest. We have one other, he's short.
I'm going to take a 10-minute break, and we will proceed after this 10-minute break.
All rise. We're in a 10-minute recess. James.
Thank you.